Close Up with the Hollywood Reporter Comedy Actors. I'm Lacey Rose, and I'm joined by Sean Hayes, Marc Maron, Ray Romano, Tony Shalhoub, Louie Anderson, and Tracy Morgan. Let's get right into this. So at this table, we don't have any sort of fresh faces, people in the just making it,
Ouch. Yes.
just making it phase of their
hacks.
careers. How would you guys describe the phase that you each are at now?
I'm at
vis-a-vis
the remember this guy phase. Kind of.
I'm at the reboot stage.
I'm at the he's still alive stage. I think.
I'm at the I can't stand that guy. Or I love that guy. I'm either one.
Him again?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Trace.
Yeah, what stage am I in? I think I'm in, I don't even know what stage am I. I got hit by a truck, so I don't even fucking know where I'm at.
You're at
Happy to be alive stage.
That's where
Happy
I'm
to be
at.
alive.
I got hit by trucks. I'm happy to be alive. Hey, can't
Do you
complain.
find the decisions you're making now different, and in what ways? Are there things you sort of won't do anymore, or conversely, things that you're excited to do now?
I love working, so
Yeah.
I love work. I'm a stand-up, and I love it. If it fits, I'll do it, and even if it doesn't fit, I'll still try to put it on.
I agree. I'm there. I'm just trying to stay in the business.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to stay in the business. That's all it
I
is
think
for me.
everybody
Simply.
just loves, I think we wouldn't be here if we didn't love to work, right?
Yeah.
So I think
I don't think any one of us idles well.
looking for work all the time.
No.
Are you making different choices about what kinds of work you want to do? I mean, certainly a lot of your choices more recently are a little more dramatic.
Yeah, but I don't shy away from comedy. I'm not going to do a sitcom again. Definitely not a 4-camera. Just no offense, Sean.
You did it.
Why not?
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah. Well, first of all, yes, that's kind of our legacy in that world, and I don't want to have to follow it. And it doesn't appeal to me as much now as doing but a single camera comedy, I'm not against that at all. But yeah, I like to, now I'm enjoying kind of mixing it up a little with the drama.
Yeah, I think we all. I'm just gonna speak for everyone.
Do it, please.
Follow me home too.
Yeah, I think we all just want to do things that are, just different from what we've done in the past, and that's really where.
I totally agree with that, man. There's both two sides to every story, and we want to show that side too.
Yeah.
Because the flip side of comedy is like drama is just comedy like a sock turned inside out. We want to show that side too.
I think that with all the platforms now, that's the greatest thing of all, because all of us, are going to get a chance to work, because these things didn't exist. I think when most of us started, there were 4 places we could work, and now there are 40 or 140. And
Yes, and there are 4 people that watch some of them.
Yeah,
so
but
yeah, it kind of flips.
you know what's so great about that? It doesn't really matter.
No, I know,
Like,
it's
I
great.
know. I mean, we may not get the ratings, but
you get to know your audience one at a time.
But there is, whatever stage you're in, entering the business now, there is so many more opportunities to see your creative vision or idea realized, because there's so many platforms. Now, is that going to make you rich and all of those other things? It's probably, no, if that's what you're after, you're probably in it for the wrong reasons to begin with. But at least you have a platform to now, YouTube or whatever, anything.
I don't think anybody at this table ever got in it for that. We do this because we love it.
Right.
You have to. If you don't love this will crush you.
Right.
It will crush you.
That's true. I'm happy to be playing somebody that isn't me specifically.
Yeah,
that
you've
was
done
a
that.
big transition.
Yeah, that was
I've been
nice.
painfully playing me for most of my life, and the opportunity to do some guy that is actually a bigger asshole than I am, but I could understand him. I think at different points in my life, but to actually do something that wasn't specifically me was a challenge, and it was exciting, and I liked it. I don't think I would take a part where I had to learn Russian or gain 30 pounds, but if it's in my wheelhouse, I'm excited to be involved.
Does who you do play then become you in some ways? Do you then take pieces of you?
Of course, for me, I'm not, I had to, whatever acting I've engaged with earlier was not huge things. And, I trained when I was younger a bit, but doing my show for 4 years was sort of hands-on training. But doing this guy, well, the story is that the best thing that happened was, this guy, Sam Sylvia, is sort of a down-and-out dude a bit, and he's got a coke problem a little bit, and he doesn't really think he's down and out, but I remember when I talked to the showrunners, I'd made some decisions about the character. I told them, I said, this guy doesn't carry a vial, he's not flashy, he doesn't share his blow. He does it out of the corner of a magazine, folded, a bindle. He'll do it with a key or a pen top. And the two showrunners are kind of nerdy women, and they both looked at me and one said, we're so glad you're here. So my point being that some of that experience from when I was younger certainly filtered into this character. I'm glad it's behind me and I have a distance, but I remember how to do blow.
I love you so much. I love you so much. Keep it real.
So many at this table have been on really iconic shows, played really iconic characters. I'm looking at several of you. What were the sort of unexpected pieces of moving on from those projects?
Well, I guess for me personally, you know, it has to do with when you're out in the world and you're recognized for that one thing. Mm-hmm. And even though you're proud of all of that work and all of that time that you put in, you really, you struggle to kind of unravel that image and try to construct a new one.
And isn't it true, sorry to interrupt, that to ride that balance of embracing the thing that made you famous for the people out in the public, and also moving away from it for your own personal
It is
growth,
a bit of a tightrope walk there. Yeah. You know, it's funny. I did a show before Monk. I was on a sitcom, Wings, in the 90s.
Yeah, absolutely.
But a weird thing happened when you know, in the next decade, when I was doing Monk. This happened once. It happened 100 times. People would come up to me and they would say, I remember you from Wings. Like I was hiding, or like I was.
You can't fool me.
Yeah, I had this feeling like I'm not dissembling. I'm just doing a different part.
Right.
But in their mind, the initial thing was me, and so then there was 8 years of Monk. Mm-hmm. That kind of diminished the first role, and now I'm doing something else, and Monk is. You know, follows me like a, you know.
And how do you respond to people when they're like, Monk, Monk?
Yeah, you know, they say you're Monk, and I don't know. I usually just say I was Monk. I played Monk.
I don't think anyone here gets to choose what they're remembered for.
No.
And that's the whole idea.
That's the public.
You just have to. You're
Embrace
grateful.
it.
I think everyone's grateful for the part they had.
Yeah.
I was in the Coming to America movie. You know, I played a cartoon character. I was a game show host. And so now I'm playing a woman. I'm just looking forward to playing a man again.
Ray, you're someone I've heard you sort of talk about coming off of Everybody Loves Raymond and sort of that process. And I think you sort of described this like little emotional breakdown in the conversations with a therapist of how many times a week you perhaps would need to go. Hoping you can sort of speak to what that was, what you learned, and
well, I came from New York. I was doing stand-up 11 years. And the show came along. I did Letterman, and the show came. So I moved. We all moved out, and 9 years now. Everybody Loves Raymond, and I was immersed in it. I was, you know, in the writers' room and in the edit room, everything, and I loved it. And then it ended, and it was like coming out of a submarine. I was serious. I was like, I live here. My kids are 15 now. This woman's still here.
This woman being your wife, I assume?
Yes.
Her too.
But I had money, I had, you know, some fame, and I thought it was going to be, this is great, I can enjoy this. And we were talking before. My therapist said, do you want to start coming twice a week now? And I said, you know, no, I don't have things to say to you once. You know, I have to make stuff up for 30 minutes. And 4 months later, I was going twice a week because it's like you said, we all love to work, and what you said, idle is not good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I have, the way I describe it is I have to keep moving or I catch up with myself. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Same way. Body emotion, stage emotion. I left 30 Rock, I was like, what do I do now?
Right.
I mean,
Then the Walmart truck came along, I was like, wow.
I think
It was decided for you.
It was good stuff.
Yeah, it was. You know, that's a good point.
my career
It's
to the
decided
next
for
level.
us a lot of times.
we say we love to work. That's about 50% true.
Yeah.
The
Because
other,
when I'm there, I'm like,
the
oh,
truth
the
is,
fuck,
like,
I gotta
if we're
get up
not
early in the
working,
morning.
all of the demons.
That's right.
Overtake us.
You have to keep. Yeah.
Because I'm always saying to my
wait,
wife.
say that again?
If we don't
the
work,
demon-
if we don't work.
The demons, our own demons, overtake us when we're not working.
True indeed.
Is that right? I was saying to my wife, if I'll, like, get toward the end of a long stretch of working, and I was like, I can't wait for this to be over now. I really need a break.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take a bunch of time. And she looks at me like, no, 2 weeks. 2 weeks you'll be. And then she doesn't want to be around me either after 2
My
weeks.
wife is the
I
same
start
way.
driving her
It's
insane.
like
You
it's the
got a
worst
TV
vacation.
show to go tape somewhere?
Yeah.
You're
right.
in my face all day.
I try to do a vacation. Like, I don't know how to take a vacation. And now, like, because I'm doing, like, the podcast, the stand-up, and then the acting gig, I don't have any boundaries I can't deliberate when I'm working and when I'm not, so I'm always working. So then if we go on vacation, immediately, I went to Hawaii, and I figured out a way to make that terrible. For 2 weeks. I'm with this woman, and I'm like, literally sort of like, I'm like, it's scary here, kind of, isn't it? We're in the middle of the ocean. I'm starting to think not, Tracy. I'm 54, and I don't know if I can unfuck myself. I think that it might be permanent.
But you guys find yourself, because I think we can all relate to wanting to work more than not wanting to work, and I find myself creating things for myself rather than waiting for a call. And I don't know if you reached that point in your life where you're like, I can't sit around anymore.
Well, that's what I did after 4 months of Raymond. My buddy was going through the same thing, one of the writers on Raymond, and we said, let's write about this, and we came up with Men of a Certain Age.
Such a good show.
Yeah.
That was a great show.
So you're talking about sort of finding what's next and how do you move on and all of that, and yet here we are. You started this off by saying we're at the reboot phase of your career, and in fact, you did ultimately choose to go back to sort of the thing that made you famous.
Yeah.
What was that sort of process, that emotional sort of deliberation about doing that?
It was quite easy. I mean, we did this election video to get the message out, and the only way we knew how for people to get out and vote, and we did it for free. The crew did it for free. We all just got together to give, send this message. And,
How did that go?
It didn't work.
But the show did.
But we didn't do it for any other reason. We all got together. It was great to see everybody, and then we said goodbye, and then here we are because of the response. So it was a nice organic process to the coming back. And we all kind of talked about it and said, yeah, there's more to say here in this way, and it's kind of missing from television right now, and blah, blah, blah.
And for you, I mean, you came initially when you did that show. You were the baby. You were the one that hadn't done this, hadn't yet.
I still am, but yeah.
But I am curious. You weren't out yet. You were. I mean, the world has changed pretty drastically since then. How has your sort of perspective coming back to this and your own sort of who you are on that set changed?
Oh gosh, that's like a
It's a 4-part
15-hour therapy conversation.
Let's drill it down to like 30 seconds.
No, I mean, I was in a different place when I was a young kid. Being gay, I was out, but not out to the press. But I was out on the set. I was out to my friends. I was out to the world. But I didn't have the DNA or the ability to be one spokesperson for an entire group of people. Nor did I wasn't trained to be that person. I didn't know how to do it. I couldn't find the words and thoughts to connect to give a positive message. And now I'm in a different place. And you realize, silence equals death, which is true. And so here I am, out and proud, and glad to be on the show. And I do anything and everything I can for the LGBTQ community.
Jack, you got an acting job! Oh, honey, I'm so proud of you!
I have a featured co-starring role on Shades of Blue, acting with my BFFF, best famous friend forever, Jennifer Lopez!
Your best famous friend forever who hasn't spoken to you in 10 years, changed her email, phone number, and address, and returned the creepy fan art you painted?
Yes, that's the one! Jenny from the block, me on all social media!
When you look at the success he's had, is there any piece of you that thinks, ooh, we should reboot 30 Rock, we should reboot Monk, we should reboot Everybody Loves Raymond?
That would be a question for Tina. I think she became a mom and a wife.
Would you do it?
Yeah.
With 30 Rock?
Yeah.
Would I do it now? Tracy Jordan? I don't know. Tina Fey and Alec Baldwin and all them agreed to it. It was such a family atmosphere. I think I would. I think I would do
that's
it.
the same with us,
if
too.
it was
It's
a
such a
right
family.
situation. Yeah, it was a family. It was family on the set, so.
Would
I
you-
think I would
would
be a
you?
part of it. It was blessed.
I don't know. I go back and forth on that.
Yeah,
I mean, they better hurry up or I'll have to play Monk's Paw.
That's how I feel too.
But
yeah.
don't you
Yeah.
think that there's some comfort in going back? You know, like I've been talking, people have been asking me about Coming to America, and Eddie has said there's might be another Coming to America. And there was something really great about that in that time in my career. And I just wonder, I think it could work. I think all things
I
could
think
work
Coming
if you're
to
in the
America
spirit
2
of
would
it.
work.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know?
I think
you're-
Coming to America 2 would work.
Right. I think also, in the craziest way, it's a way to relive your childhood. For me, anyway.
It's a comfort zone, though.
Yeah, it's like,
You were young
it's
when
always been
Coming
a
to
fantasy for
America
everybody to
came
go
out.
back in time and live your 20s over again, and this is, I guess, the closest way to do that.
You also have something to say with the show,
Yeah.
which I think is a piece of why the show is working. There's a sort of a cultural moment and a political moment that you are providing commentary on. So to do these shows again, there would have to be something, presumably, to say.
But I think each one of those shows, believe it or not, had something to say. Family, or, you know, with the person who
A
is...
disorder.
That's what I
a
loved
disorder
about
of
it.
some sort. You know,
Archie
I think
Bunker,
that,
that's what I loved about it.
I think that was the great thing about those shows. And when they come back, I think the reason people like to do it is to see if they still have it.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
And the money.
It's a wonderful right. Yeah.
I mean, the money.
That's a different thing than 30
money
Rock,
is
because
not-
30 Rock was in the office.
Yeah.
That was business.
Yeah.
This was family. You in these people's homes.
Right. Yeah.
Look at Archie Bunker. You in their home. Look at Good Times. You in their home. As opposed to being in the office.
Right.
All right, I want to touch on the sort of cultural moment that we're in, whether you label that the Me Too moment, the Time's Up moment. I am particularly in the sort of comedy space. I'm curious how it has changed your perspective and the conversations that you are having now.
You saying comedy? You saw PC in comedy?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
That's what the question's about, PC? There's no room for it in comedy.
So,
I ask
yeah.
people all the time, do you think Richard Pryor and George Carlin would have survived it? Do you?
Yeah.
Right now, you mean?
Actually, I think
right
they
now.
would. I think they would figure out a way to
Why do you
survive it.
feel that way?
It is a different time, but I do think there has to be people being willing to do it. I think we have, like, Roseanne got all this flack about people who knew her saying that, hey, good, congratulations. But, you know, we're friends, people, and you got flack for doing it. And I just think that, you know, right now it's possible that the liberalism and freedom of speech and all those things are at stake. This is how things like this get lost, is nobody goes, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it even if this costs me my, you know, sponsorship. Because I think you say it, we talked about it, you know, you have a great podcast.
Yep.
Nothing, you guys talk about everything.
Sure, and I think that, like, in terms of, like, because you had to go through it with stuff
I
you
went
said,
through it,
and then
but I talk about-
yeah, but you can, if you're willing to shoulder the burden of what's coming at you, and you know what's coming at you, and you got to say the truth, and you got to say the truth. You know, the scary thing is these. You know, if there's going to be a pile-on, you know, how far away does that get from what actually happened? You know, when is it just people who don't even know what's being talked about just start to annihilate somebody? I think the big fear is that, you know, overnight, your reputation can be completely dismantled and you could be shredded and wake up to, like, this tweet shitstorm and some sort of tabloid shitstorm.
I went through it.
Yeah, I know. And, you know, it's a lot to go through. And I think it's scary when you are somebody who has to get out there and tell your truth, or you want to comment on the world as a stand-up, that's in the back of your brain, like, because it's going to compromise you.
Yeah.
It's not really that there's censorship in the country, because you can say whatever you want. You just got to take what's coming at you. But self-censorship is the bigger cancer.
So are there things you won't
that's
say
really
now and
good,
things you
yeah.
won't do on stage, or?
Well, you better know what you want, where you're going with it. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, you know, it used to be like, I'm just going to shoot from the hip, like Tracy does that a lot, and, you know, I'll do it about certain things, but there are certain areas where it's sort of like, I better know where this ends.
Mark, you've used your podcast to sort of talk about what's going on in the culture. I think particularly, you know, after Louis C.K., you came on, you talked about empathy and sort of really understanding power dynamics. Yeah. Curious what that process has been for you and what the sort of larger takeaway has been.
For me, in response to my friend going through that or the situation, well, I mean, at some
learning
point,
about yourself in that.
Well, I mean, at some point, you know, there has to be a conversation. There has to be some sort of leveling off so we can communicate. So not everybody, men in particular, are running around terrified of their past or of how to behave, because I don't think that's going to be helpful for anyone. It's heavy, man. I mean, you know, because there was no. It was just decided, and it came down hard, and it came down fast, and it was terrifying.
But
It was
men
in
are
the middle of
disappearing.
mob mentality too, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
So we
But-
look
but
at
there
what's the guy's name? Aziz.
Aziz
Yeah.
Ansari.
What happened with him?
That was a little nuts, that article.
But men are disappearing. I mean, Jeffrey Tambor was sitting at this table 2 years ago, and they're disappearing.
Yeah, eventually
Vanishing.
there has to be some conversation. I mean, obviously we're all going to behave a little better.
Are you?
We're
I
not
mean,
fucking
yeah.
stupid.
No, yeah.
Right? You know what I mean?
Well,
It's sort of
speak
like,
for yourself.
oh yeah, you're going to keep going at it.
I ain't gonna keep going at it. Bring that
But
flower
I
pot.
think I don't know how to speak to any of this, but I can only speak to what I'm more aware of. I think there's an awareness of how hard it is for women
Yes.
that
Yes.
we weren't aware of as much.
Well, I
You
think
just
that
said it one
Ray's
time
right,
and it
but
wasn't funny.
sometimes
To
you
one
got to push the envelope, right? So because the problem is that there are people afraid to laugh because they don't want to be judged.
But
So
they
now
come
you're-
to the show that way.
That's right. That's what I mean.
Make
So
me
you-
laugh. Wait a minute. That's like a woman, you get in the bed with a woman, she said, make me come. Wait a minute, I'm trying to make myself come.
If I had a
Make me
dollar.
come. What do you mean make you laugh?
Great analogy.
You gotta come to the show willing to laugh. I know what to say that's gonna make you laugh. I already know what to say that's gonna make you laugh.
But I think people are confused
But
that
if
they
you
don't.
coming on a witch hunt,
Right.
it's
yeah.
something different.
Do you think, though, that
You're
we-
an angry villager with the fire. Burn the monster, you know.
But I think that happens in some people's minds is that they want to laugh, and sometimes they're like, oh, I don't know if I can.
Oh yeah, everybody
That-
come to
you
a
know,
club
that's a
don't.
weird
Everybody
moment.
come to a show don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But
Well,
in this
should
sort
I
of
laugh?
this
You just
time,
talked about sex. Should I laugh? And then they see everybody else laughing, then they laugh.
Yeah, except for the one person who hates you, and they're the ones sort of
What are
like,
you
I went to
doing
see
here?
Tracy.
Yeah.
What are you
know.
doing here?
Right.
It's
I've
like
done nothing to you. We're just trying to make the world laugh.
It's
At
like
the end
a-
of the day, all of us sitting here are just trying to make the world a better place than it was before we got here.
We'll be right
comedy.
back. What's up, Louie?
Serious.
So, Mark, you're on
Yeah.
a show about women, starring women, run by women, staffed largely by
Yeah,
women. I mean,
yeah.
you're very much the sort of minority. Curious how that has changed your perspective and your own sort of takeaway from that experience.
Well, I don't think I've ever, I would think most men, I've never been around that many women in my life, especially every day. And very quick, and I'm not just the only man, I'm a sexist, you know, dick, you know, with a relatively heart of gold. Not quite a heart of gold, but he's got his vulnerabilities. But working with so many women, I found it, and the fact that they're learning how to wrestle and they're doing this thing that's very theatrical, and just the amount of like hair and makeup because it's the 80s that they have to go through. There was definitely a lot of empathy and a lot of pride that I felt, and I was very moved by the camaraderie and how like they all came together, and when they'd succeed in doing things, I'd get choked up. So I don't know what it's done for, you know, in a general sense, my perception. You know, I can't speak to it. I wasn't, you know, I was not anti-women before I went in. I'm not going to tell you like who knew they were humans. So, but.
Fair.
But they, but the thing was is that it did increase my respect.
Oh my God, not this again, please. Babies are boring. I mean, they don't party, they haven't traveled, they have no sense of irony. And you love this shit. You love being a temperamental star. I know you do. If you were sitting at home with that kid, your life would become just anger and resentment. No work, no husband. You would burn up in a smoldering ash heap of rage and disappointment. You think that's good for you or your boring baby?
Oddly, even though they're all dressed in leotards and they're wearing these outfits and this hair, it's not a sexualized set, you know, because of the nature of how you know it's run and what the script is and what we're all working towards. And I just think that is sort of magical, that you have this situation where you know you have these women who feel safe enough and supported enough.
A lot of them
and-
can beat the shit out of you too, right? Because
Of course,
they're
yeah,
wrestlers.
Kia
They're-
could. I think Allison probably could at this point. Betty could certainly take me down. But it has, you know, not just just working with an ensemble that large and having it mostly be women has been. It's been great for me because I'm sort of a self-involved, self-centered person, and it's nice to be part of an ensemble, and it's nice to be the only guy acting like an asshole who's not really an asshole, because then right when I come out of the asshole, I'm surrounded by women going, "Oh, that was good," and yeah, so that's fun.
Curious for the rest of the preparation process. I think you, Louie, have talked about you become Christine. I mean, that name is on scripts. What was that decision? What does that actually look like for you?
Well, when I didn't realize that it would make a difference, I thought I would be able to just put that on and I could still be who I am, but there was a definite change. I don't know how it happens, but I think it's when they put the lipstick on, something happens. Because I just would look in the thing and go, I look good. And then I think what really happened was that I had an idea, because people treat you different. They treated me different than as Louie. They treated me different as Christine. So there was a lot more door opening, which was really interesting. And then maybe it's just, I don't know. It was just different. And I asked people not to call me Louie on the set because I really wanted the character to be Christine. But I sometimes during this thing, we'd have a 2-hour break and I would go out in the public as Christine and go to the store and stuff. And I would get weird looks. Like some people went, is that a guy? Is that a, but a lot of people would treat, I felt the actual difference, but mostly what I felt the big thing I felt was the preparation to get ready to be a woman. And I don't mean because I'm a man, but what women often go through every day to present themselves to the world. Where men go, is this clean? Does this look okay?
That's it.
Do you know what I mean? And so it seemed like a lot of work to go out to be ready to be seen.
Yeah.
Where we don't have that thing. So I do think everything kind of got in these times turned upside down on the head. And I think that we're looking at everything like that differently. Anyway, you know what I like? I love a jingle. Like at the end of the spot, like row, row, rodeo.
Maybe I'll do whatever you want.
See, but he has a sexual advantage on you that I don't have.
I can be objective.
Okay.
Oh, the pie. Chip, will you get the pie for me? Thank you.
No pie for me. Thank you very much for the tacos, Mother. Kenneth?
Ray, what's that process for you to get into the character?
For me, it's the hair. My character's a washed-up producer, and I base the hair on Brian Grazer. And I say this all the time. He's not a washed-up. He's an A-list producer.
Yeah.
But I thought,
quite
this
as
would be
spiky,
neat.
but yes.
This would be neat to use his hair. So once I'm in that hair, you can't not be a.
You it.
Yeah.
That's it. You it.
I usually use a line too. For each character I've done over the past, there's usually a line, because I do a little bit of voice. I don't know if any of you guys, it's not even perceptible to people listening to, but in your own head, you hear a different voice. And I have one line from dialogue that kind of gets me into that. I would have come to you. So before each scene, I say that out loud, and people are looking at me like, why are you saying that? It's just, it's the way I get it.
Just to get me there.
Yeah. Okay, well, you got the studio. What are you coming to me for?
Wouldn't be the same without you.
Yeah. You want me to hide the cash, okay? Forget about it. No way.
Suit yourself.
Yeah. Okay, I already told you. I know what you people do, so you think I would work with you people? I'm a professional. I heard Denzel Washington say it once in an interview, tell the young actors, write your backstory. So I do, for each character I get casted now, I try to write a little backstory. And I always put my father in there, I got to find something new, but I always I'm always trying to please my father, yeah.
This thing I wanted to bring up because Tony is playing a character from another time right now.
Oh, yeah.
Am I right?
In Mrs. Maisel.
And this, Mrs. Maisel, which is fantastic. But this is also the prime time when women were treated like that, and many of those issues are on the show. And then how does that translate to the set?
Well,
That's what I was wondering.
It's really interesting because I think this show, I don't know how long they've been working on it when it was first conceived, but I think it's just kind of a collision of the time we're in and Amy Sherman Palladino, the creator and main writer. I think she's just writing about something, a family experience, because her father was a stand-up and her mother, still alive, is a entertainer, singer, dancer. So she was writing about her world. And all of these issues of this young woman, kind of moving from a domestic setting out into the world, professional world, breaking into comedy. But it just so happens that once we were doing the pilot, then all of these news stories started to come out.
So it wasn't as a result, but it was coincidental.
It is kind of coincidental, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm not in the writer's room, of course, but I think it's just kind of a happy accident.
Easter Island face. I know that face.
I was wondering, is there any way I can get you to change your mind about taking back the apartment?
Nope, no way. I paid for it. I overpaid for it.
I know.
It was mine to take back. My son knew this.
I'm sure he did.
So what's the point, Hooray? Why are you even bringing this up?
I want to get the kids back together.
Join the club.
And the apartment is a big piece of that puzzle.
I've already put it on the market.
You can take it off the market.
People are going to love the layout, and it's so close to the park.
I'll pay for half the apartment.
What's your preparation?
For this character, it's the clothes for me, because we're working in 1958.
Yeah.
And I play this, he's actually a math professor at Columbia.
That gotta be fun.
And it's great. And I grew
fun.
up, not to age myself here, but, I was a kid in this time period. And so I have these images of my dad and my uncles and my parents' friends and the way that it's a totally different thing. The way
Give you something to draw from.
The way they dealt with their wives, the way they dealt with their children.
Or didn't deal with it.
Or didn't. And,
Yeah.
I'm blessed that I have, I can carry that into the work. But man, the clothes and the wingtips
Costume,
and the layers. I have it's kind of a shirt, the tie, the sweater vest, the jacket, the coat, and
Just for dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
here
I
we are in a
noticed.
tie and we're having supper. And so it's part memory and part, this brilliant wardrobe designer that we have, costume designers.
I always say if my father hugged me once, I would be an accountant right now. I wouldn't have to do any of this. I wouldn't have to do this.
So
One hug is all it would
That would
have
have
taken.
done it.
Yeah.
What are the parts you won't take, the lines you won't cross, perhaps things?
I had to do nudity.
Wait a
you
minute,
did
time
it.
out.
Yeah, well, the thing was that was the other thing about all these women, all 14 of them, signed this on their contract.
nude in front of 14 women?
They said they all agreed that you have to sign whatever it is, a waiver to
Nudity
do
waiver.
nudity.
Yeah.
And what was I going to be the guy? 14 women all signed it, and I was going to be the guy. No, I'm not going to do it. So I had to sign it. So I knew that my time was going to come. Like I knew what was going to happen. And I didn't know what it was going to be, but I knew it was going to be.
But you couldn't care.
Well, that's
Yeah,
the
at
thing.
that point, you got to the point where, could I say at that point, when your time came,
Yeah.
did you just say, fuck it?
Of course. What else
You
am I
have
going to do?
to.
But like I did talk him
Gotta
out
commit.
of I talked him out of the frontal.
Yeah.
I didn't need that pressure. So I said, you can do, you could get, I'll do full ass shot, but if we can leave my dick out of it, I'd be happy.
it's all we
Because I
got.
just don't need that on the internet.
That's all
I can
we got.
handle
That's
my
all we
ass on the
got.
internet, So like they negotiated with me. We got the
You got out of it.
We got the ass. No, we got the ass. Full ass.
Full ass.
And yeah, but
They get no diddling.
I wore the little sock. My stuff. And I had
Oh, Mark, come on, man.
I did.
You're my hero.
Yes.
You were supposed to say, fuck it.
I did it with
with my ass.
Legs. Nah, I'm talking about the front.
I didn't do it.
I had the
Sorry.
same. I had a nude scene in vinyl.
Yeah.
I did a threesome in vinyl. I'm still sad that show got canceled. But,
I love that show.
Yeah,
You were so good in that.
Well, thank you. But I had to do a nude scene, and it was me on a bed waking up in Vegas after a night of craziness, and Bobby Cannavale comes and pushes me. Bobby Cannavale does full frontal nudity in Boardwalk Empire and everything, and I've seen that. And
on the streets in
yeah. But so he wakes me up, and I stand up, and I have the sock.
Yeah.
And after the take, he goes, bro, you don't got to wear the sock for me. I don't care. I said, I'm not wearing it for you, man. He goes, I don't wear it. I go, I've seen you in Boardwalk. I know why you don't wear it. Okay, I'm keeping the sock on.
My business is my business.
Were you nervous about it? Did you
nervous.
think
Well, I had to
maybe
do a
not
sex
do it?
scene. In that episode, I had to have nudity and be drunk in the same episode. And sometimes that's even scarier to play drunk.
Yeah.
Why?
Here, put it this way. The director's not going to yell too big during the nude scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, drunk is so many, who knows, I mean, levels and whatever.
Oh, yeah,
But yeah, I had to have the three. It's crazy that I went from never having a sex scene to having a threesome. And you're simulating sex. It's not, it's nerve-wracking
And
because it's not
people watch
real,
it,
and it's not real, but
Sex is
But he don't know that.
Yeah, right,
He don't know.
right. Yeah, right.
You don't reckon enough just without the cameras.
But they
in.
make exception for that. They understand.
Yes,
And on some level, if you do get turned on, it's like you're in it. You know, what are you going to do?
That happened to me.
Method.
I'm sure it did.
My first movie, 30 Years to Life, it happened to me. I had to do a sex scene.
Yeah.
I had an accident.
So what are you saying?
I just said, pardon me, I'm sorry. And she was a sport. She said, it's okay.
Well, there
You
was
look at
some
30 Years to
actor.
Life.
There was one actor who I forget who it was. They
it's
attribute this.
Denzel.
Who said to
Cartel?
the woman before the sex scene?
That was Denzel.
The one, you know the line I'm going to say? He said, I apologize if I do, and I apologize if I don't.
Oh, that's the greatest.
You know, my wife, when I did my wife is from Queens, New York, we're married a long time. And so I did the scene, and she goes, tell me what happened. And I'm like, nah, it's really nothing. The woman is sitting, and there's another one. Anyway, and then she flies home. She was in New York. She flies home, and then I say, how was the flight? I call her, and she goes, yeah, there was an actor sitting next to me. He gave me his card. And now I started getting jealous, I'm like, what do you mean he gave you his card? And he goes, he knew of you, so he gave me. I go, what do he look like? What was his name? And she stops me. She goes, what was the name of the girl that sat on your cock?
Come on. Yes.
Sat on your
Oh, come on. I'm working over here.
Yeah.
Well, anything for you? I mean, there are lines
I
you
was just
won't.
going to jump in with my sex scene story.
Oh, please, please.
No, I've never done it.
You never know.
Oh, maybe I did. I don't know.
Are there lines you won't cross? Things that?
No,
you
I'm
won't do?
open. I'm open to anything if it makes sense. I mean, I'm like Tracy that way. I'm just like I'm all in at any cost.
Has that always been the case for you?
Yeah. I'm always, my dumb motto is we're here for 5 minutes. We're all like, so nothing.
5
why not
minutes,
just,
huh?
Yeah, 5 minutes.
No
that's it.
nudity on Will and Grace? Nothing blurred out or anything? No?
Not on NBC.
No, but they blurred, nothing like
Oh, yeah, actually, we just did an episode this season where Nick Offerman was on an episode, and he was sleeping with Will and Grace at different times, and he just full nudity. Just went for it.
He seems like that kind of guy. Yeah.
He's great.
When I had to do a scene with my boyfriend as Christine, that was really interesting because, I don't wear anything to make myself more of a woman because I have nice breasts to begin with. I mean, it just happened. I just happened to get nice breasts. And
blessed that way.
And they work in the scene. And so I wore a slip for the next morning when we woke up, and I just said, oh my God, when I saw the scene, I said, oh my God, I am my mother. I have. And it was but it was a little uncomfortable. It was a little uncomfortable because I didn't really know how to play it that way as a woman.
Yeah.
As a man, I could have, but as a woman, I didn't know how to play that. And it was interesting, but other people got a little nervous when I
got nervous when I did that movie with Adam Sandler, Longest Yard. Remember the remake of Longest Yard? And I had to play a transvestite.
Oh, right,
But it wasn't a transvestite in a normal set. It was a transvestite in a jail. So I remember feeling funny about it. They literally gave me a camel toe. They put the device on me and gave me a camel toe.
What aspect of it made you nervous?
I was in the aspect that I was in a prison.
Got it.
It wasn't in the streets. I have aunts, I have a sister. I know how to do that. That's cool. But this is in a different setting. This is in a prison. So I remember Chris Rock
You were
pulling
very
me over.
pretty in that.
Yeah, thank you. I felt pretty. I
You
felt
were.
pretty.
You were really
all
pretty.
All them boys wanted me.
They did.
All them boys wanted me. I might be pregnant now. I don't know.
What
I
did
know
Chris
this baby
say?
is kicking. Chris said, never be ashamed of what you're doing. Because if you're ashamed, then the people in the audience are gonna be ashamed. So you embrace it. So then I went back to my aunt, my mom's and them, and I said, this is how they do it. And it came off. It came off like a fat rat in a cheese factory.
You start off in jail in this show that you're doing now. Curious, you're drawing a lot from your own experiences and your
Well,
own
I've never
past.
been to prison
No,
for
you
something
have
like
not.
that, but I know people have.
Correct. But I am curious, on this show, you are sort of drawing from your own past. Are there points where you say, too dark, I don't want to...
No.
Not at all.
No, I did 15 years for selling crack. It's not like that on TV now. It's from my life. So Tracy Morgan got a second chance when I came out the accident, but I can't Trey Barker. So if you look at the show, dark premise, but it's kind. It's a kind show. Tiffany Haddish is the mother of my children. She's allowing me to be back in my kid's life. I know people like that went to prison for a long time, got their life and came out. They weren't there for violent. You know, we all deserve a second chance.
What do you want?
Just saying hello.
Trey, stop calling me.
When can I meet the kids, Shay?
You want to see the kids? My kids?
Our kids.
Oh, I don't know. How about when you get a job or volunteer at a community center? Something. In other words, make something of yourself. All the adults in my kids' lives are positive role models, and I very much want to keep it that way.
So it'll probably be a waste of time to actually show your booty on camera, huh?
Boy.
Shay, wait a minute.
Get off my phone.
It's just kind. We need that more in the world. Kindness.
Yes.
And that's what I want to promote. Kindness. I survived that accident for a reason, to bring love. So at least 150 times a day I tell strangers I love you. Some people get offended because like you're entering my space. You're entering my space.
To the original discussion.
Right,
I love
exactly,
you.
exactly.
Yeah, but that's how it is.
So Tiffany is somebody who is in this moment in her career where she's completely breaking out. Curious what advice you have given her on how to sort of navigate fame, and then I'm going to open that question. Stay grounded.
Stay humble and stay grounded. This is the time you got some heat on you. This is where you stay humble. Stay grounded, because what goes up comes down. Even ice turns to water when it's hot. So relax and embrace it. Have a good time. Stay humble. Stay consistently working. I say that to everybody on my set. Just relax and stay humble. We got a nice show. It's just a premiere. But we're not going to celebrate till we get to the 6th and 7th season like Everybody Loves Raymond. We not.
What's the best and worst advice you guys gotten in the past about navigating fame and success?
Be patient.
That was the good advice, I assume.
No, that was the worst advice.
That was
the worst advice ever. It really was the worst advice.
Why?
Be patient for what? You got to make shit happen.
Got to go get it.
You know? It's so much better.
Well, in stand-up, it was weird, because I started in stand-up, and to address that, it's kind of the opposite in stand-up, because I remember, I think it was Seinfeld who said the way to make money in comedy is to not worry about the money in comedy, just worry about the comedy. And it was another comic, Max Alexander. You remember?
Yeah.
And I remember at a bar with him, and I was just young and saying, how do I do it? How do I get this gig? And how do I work there? And he said, it's gonna come. If you're good and you work on your stuff, if you work on your craft, it will get there. Now look, there are cases where, yes, you still have to hustle and get out there and do it. But worry about yourself, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I think the best advice is that speaks to what both Tracy and Ray said too. It has to do with humility, and there's a quote from Stanislavski, I think it's Stanislavski. It is, love the art in yourself, not yourself in the art.
That's right.
And
I love
so
that.
that you know, we take our work seriously, but not ourselves and because one of the things that this business perpetuates, it almost becomes inevitable in a way, is that it becomes, you know, becomes about me and how do I elevate this, and you know, and that can really mess with your ego, and if your ego gets too much in the way, well, many things will happen. But I think your work can suffer, and your life can suffer. You know, your relationships, your family, your friends, your whatever it is.
It's good to have a wife who couldn't
puts
give
up
a
with.
damn if you were a plumber or
Yeah.
as long as the money was the same. As long as the money was
She
the same.
keeps you grounded. That's important.
Yeah.
The people,
That's true.
especially the young people, because to me, I see like show business is like space. And if my woman is lost in space and I'm lost in space, then we both lost in space. So I gotta be grounded. My lady is the type, if I can come from the Oscars and I get home, she like, your dog shitted on the
Yeah.
So that keeps me grounded. And it keeps me not getting lost out there. I don't care about that.
And Lost in
What's-
Space is on Netflix right now.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Reboot.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I just, me personally, when it's all said and done and ain't no more to say, do, I want to know who I am. So it's a journey for me.
Right.
I don't know who I am.
That's
And it's
good.
like you said, it's about the artist in me and not about me being in the art. I just can't stand people that make it all about them.
Well, I think comedians
Can't be.
are a little bit too insecure to get like that anyway.
Yeah.
No
know I
matter
am.
what, they never. It's a dichotomy. You think you're great, but you also think you're horrible at the same time.
Yeah, I
you know?
don't. I think that's
Yeah.
comics who think they're who actually think they're great. They're very frightening people.
Yeah.
Well, they're afraid you. Is
they're
that
frightening
because they
because-
see the ceiling there?
I know because like you know if guys who like I've known in comedy or anybody who really has a sort of this weird confident belief that they are truly great and I can't see through it, they make me nervous.
That's not me, right?
No. but the thing with me, like I
Why does he look at you when he says
no. I was fortunate in that I actually had no major success for most of my career. Like there was never a point where it was sort of like shit is getting out of control. You know, like when I was like. There's yet to be a point, and there was never. I was 45 when I started a show in my fucking garage, and by some fluke of nature and cosmic timing, it put me back on the map, and I've started to work. My show that was my sitcom for 4 years was on a network that really 9 people watched, and they didn't promote. But it trained me a lot. And what I'm getting around to is that the wisdom that I have learned is that if you really like the best that you can be is to really know that who you are and that you're ready to do things and that you're not afraid and you sort of know your limitations. And that didn't happen from any advice. It happened because of this slog. So by the time I finally am able to make a living in show business, I'm fucking 50. And
That's perfect, though, in one sense.
It is.
Right?
It is. Yeah, because it's sort of like, what else is going to
Now
happen?
you got the goods.
Also, when you're younger, you see all these young people, and they get really, a lot of success really quickly at an early age, and it's just hard. They just don't know how to handle it, and
Saturday
so things
Night
go
Live
wrong.
taught me a lot. It
happens.
I had a wife and 3 kids when I first got on SNL. That show knows what it can do for your career in 60 seconds.
Yeah.
You know how I handle it, Tony, which is odd because of how long it took?
Yeah.
Is I pretend it's not happening.
That's really good.
Hey, denial is a
do
really
that, too.
underrated.
I totally do that. I pretend like.
People are like, why don't you
Go
buy a
to
new
the good.
house? I'm like, should I? Why, my mother told me to buy like a new car for 4 years.
But
I was
this one
driving-
works.
Right, I was driving a 2004 Camry, and she's like, why don't you get a new car? And it was fucked up because the reason I got one is I pulled that shit box up to an event here in Hollywood,
Yeah.
and everyone's getting out of black, shiny cars, and I'm pulling up my shit box, and I don't even want the valet to park it. I'm like, just tell me where to put it. I don't want to put you through that. So I got a new car, but I got a new
Then
Camry.
your alternator comes in, the new Camry.
The best
Still
advice
use
I ever got
alternators.
was that comedy was easy from another comic, and life was hard. And I just thought that was really accurate.
Wow.
Because I think my life has been much harder than my career.
100%.
So that was really good. That was
It's
really
real like
good.
that too. What you just said was so true. It's the truth. Because we easy on stage, no one can touch us. That's our world.
Yeah.
No one can touch us when we up there. We free
Especially
falling.
nowadays.
But when you listen, Michael Jackson problems didn't come on stage. They came off.
But you kind of knew that he had problems.
Yeah, but you knew it. You saw it.
You saw him on stage. You're like,
All right, we're going to end on a lightning round of
Okay,
questions that I'm
great.
hoping
Yes.
that we can have fun with. Okay.
Let's do it.
Complete this sentence. I wish someone would cast me as.
A man.
A woman. I'll try that. I'll try it. It's an easy tuck for me.
No sock necessary.
I'm going to go Louis Armstrong.
Nice.
I think a rabbi or a cop.
Yes. I want to see you as a cop.
Yeah.
Serpico too.
Someone intelligent. Yeah.
Someone sexy and good looking.
Wow, it's a stretch for both you guys.
And this one.
Hey,
I said I'd wish
it was a
someone-
fantasy.
And this one. I'm tired of being approached to play.
The fat guy. No, I'm just kidding. I was taking a joke. I don't have an answer. I'm not being approached.
Yeah.
I'm tired of not being approached.
Yeah, that's the same answer.
Nothing approached.
Well, I mean, I don't get approached a lot, but generally, like, it's different variations of cranky.
Different colors?
Yeah. So I'd like to try a nice guy, maybe.
Yeah, that's good. I love
Well,
that.
I'm
You are a
not
nice
tired
guy.
of being asked to do this, but I see the pattern starting now. It's the dad. I'm the dad of the troubled teen.
The 25-year-old.
Yes. The 25-year-old.
I'm getting tired of being
Which is
approached
cool.
as a troubled teenager. That's
Yeah.
my dad.
All right, we have two more. If we went back to who you were as kids, your high school yearbook would likely say most likely to.
Mine was trip at graduation, and that's true, and I really did it.
I went to 3 different high schools. I graduated. Nobody really knew me when I graduated.
What should it have said? Most likely to.
Almost make it.
Yeah.
Mine was not a chance.
Yeah.
Not a chance.
Mine would have been most likely to lose his hair, I think.
You should have them.
Mine would have been, who is that? I don't think, I mean, I had very few friends, but I think that, you know, I don't feel, it's not like a bad thing, I don't feel bad about it, but I wanted to be, you know, president, so I hope somebody said, most likely become president, which I thought I could never do until recently.
Open. It's open now.
Yeah, it's
Anyone
Wide
can do it.
I'm
open
throwing my
race.
name in the hat.
Yeah, why not?
I got a chance.
You would be good.
Yeah.
And the last one. If there were.
You would be as confusing as the one we have now.
Great. It'd be great.
If there was a comedy series made up of everyone at this table, it would be called, for the final answer.
Made up of us?
Yes.
Of all of us?
Save me.
Whoa. That's awesome.
That would be fun.
I got it when worlds collide. Mm-hmm. When we're looking at all these different worlds, when worlds collide, every episode will be crazy.
What would the
Different
title
worlds.
be?
Yeah.
Who
Or
ate the
logline.
ice cream?
And it would never leave this room.
Naked and afraid.
That's good.
That was my honeymoon. Oh, boy. We should come up with something.
That's plenty.
Everybody Loves Raymond could be one of them.
That's true.
Because, I mean, you know, he's very likable.
What about left field?
Sure, that's good.
Left field. This is all out of left field, man.
I think Ray's looking for something that's really going to pop.
Yeah,
And I've given up on
this
it.
is
so
why
I'm
I'm
just
going with
Ray.
him.
This is why I
I'm
wouldn't do a
going
show
with him.
again. Because you're in the writer's room till 3 in the morning.
A lot of guys sitting there.
For
kinda
one
going,
line. For one line.
Here we go, looking at the computer.
Here's the thing: we have to, in the writers' room, you have to first spew all the wrong things, the disgusting, politically incorrect things, and then come out with the one you're going to use. We can't do that here.
Yeah.
Because we're on
How about
camera.
this, Ray? We're still working.
Yeah.
How about 6 relatively selfish guys?
How about?
Men of a certain
Oh,
stage
boy.
of decline.
Differences.
Yeah. How about 5 out of 6 of us have sciatica?
No, thank you all for doing this.
Who doesn't, though? Who doesn't? Which one? It's
Well, I
you.
have
You
it.
don't. You don't.
But I have my knee.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tony Shalhoub.
Hey, what up? I'm Tracy Morgan.
I am Ray Romano, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching The Hollywood Reporter.
You're watching Hollywood Reporter on YouTube.
Okay, thanks.